we're going to work on costing inventory under the periodic inventory system using FIFO. So we have ABC Inc., and they have the following inventory transactions for the month of May. We've got beginning inventory at 50 units, $230 each. But then we have 4 purchases that happen throughout May. An inventory count at May 31st indicates that 62 units are on hand at the end of the period. So we want to calculate the cost of goods sold and the ending inventory value using FIFO periodic inventory system. What you may notice is that in the listing of things that happen to inventory during the period, we have omitted the sales. The reason we ignore the different dates that each sale happened on is because we're not recording cost of goods sold at those times, at the time of sale. Instead, we're going to determine the cost of goods sold at the end of the period. How are we going to do that? Well, we've got a formula for this. So looking at this, we're going to start with beginning inventory. And I'm going to use units to demonstrate this, which is 50. Then we're going to add in the cost of goods purchased. Now I'm going to use units right now, but we can take all the purchases, 35, 25, 30, and 30, and we see that the total number of units purchased, and remember, we're doing units, is 120. If we add these two things together, 50 plus 120, that is equal to the goods available for sale. So these are all of the units that were available throughout the period to sell to our customers. Now, if we deduct the ending inventory, and we know the ending inventory was 62 units, we do this calculation, that will allow us to determine what the cost of goods sold is. Now, this is using units, but we need dollars so that we can put them on the financial statements. So if I look at these costs, I can fill in some of the information. We know the cost of the beginning inventory, $11,500. We know the cost of the goods purchased. We can add together the costs of all the goods purchased, which is $29,465. If we add those two things together, it's equal to the goods available for sale. What we don't know is the value of the ending inventory or the value of the cost of goods sold. In order to figure that out, we have to use the FIFO method. Recall that FIFO stands for first in, first out. That means that the oldest inventory is the first to go out to the customer. And the most recent purchases are the ones that are still sitting on our shelf at the end of May. So when we want to calculate the value of the ending inventory, what we're going to do is we're going to actually start at the bottom of the chart and we're going to move up because these are the units that are still sitting on our shelves. So looking at this, when we want to do the ending inventory value under FIFO, I'm going to start at the bottom and say, okay, I've got 30 units. Remember, I have 62 units that I have to value. So 30 units at $250 each is going to be that $7,500. That's not 62. I need the additional 30 units right here at $248, which is going to be $7,440. I then need 2 units from the prior purchase, the 25. Only 2 units are still sitting on the shelf at $245 each. So I'm going to do the multiplication, and we can see that the value of the ending inventory is $15,430. So I can now take that and put it into my formula. It tells me, if I do the math here, exactly how much the cost of goods sold is. The cost of goods sold is $25,535. Remember, once we determine the cost of the ending inventory, the cost of goods sold is calculated by simply subtracting the ending inventory from the available for sale. Can we calculate the cost of goods sold by itself without calculating the ending inventory first? Absolutely. We know that there is 108 units sold. I can end up not having this information. I can delete it. I can delete all of this. And I'll still be able to work out the value of the ending inventory because I know how many units were sold or units have disappeared. If I wanted to calculate the cost of goods sold, I'm actually going to start from the top. So in this case, I'm going to work from the top down. I'm going to change that color. There we go. I'm going to work from the top down. If I want to calculate the cost of goods sold, I'm going to start with the 50 units at $230 each. Now, that doesn't come up to the 108. So I'm going to take the next 35 units at $240. That's $8,400. If I go down here and I just quickly add it up, I see I'm only at 85. So how many more units do I need to get up to the 108? I'm going to take that 108, I'm going to subtract the 85, and I need 23 units. So when I look, I've got 25 units. I'm going to take 23 of those units at $245 each. I'm going to do the math. Let's just get rid of this underline. There we go. Underline this. And I can see that the cost of goods sold is $25,535. So I can plug in the $25,535 and work backwards, taking the available for sale, deducting the cost of goods sold, and that's going to calculate the ending inventory. Notice that the ending inventory is still the exact same value. We know that ending inventory plus cost of goods sold has to be equal to the available for sale. So whether I calculate ending inventory by starting at the bottom of the chart and moving up, or I calculate cost of goods sold by starting at the top of the chart and moving down, makes absolutely no difference. The two numbers together have got to be equal to the available for sale. That's how you calculate FIFO under the periodic inventory system.